computer. Good afternoon, Susan. I greatly appreciate your time this afternoon. As you see, I'm just coming straight from service. And I have this little project for school for my entrepreneurship class. We have to come up with an idea of a possible need that is in the community that with a project or a business, we could satisfy that need. So as I went through the list of things that I think we need, this is one of the projects that I came up with, and I'm going to share with you kind of what the idea of it is.
Okay.
So, the concept is that Dallas Total Recycling provides a drop-off location for various recycling goods. These sites are operated and maintained by individuals that currently live at the margin. Dallas Total Recycling sells the recycled goods to producers and manufacturers that can repurpose those goods. This will help the DFW community on several levels. First, it will reduce the amount of trash that lands in the landfills. Secondly, it reduces the new resources used to manufacture goods. And lastly, it helps to give individuals living at the margin re-entry into society by giving them a value and a purpose.
Okay.
So that's kind of the scope of the idea that I had. And it's based on a thing that I've seen, and it's happening all over Switzerland. Deposit places that you can go and give recycled goods. And I know a lot of communities do have recycling, but it doesn't cover everything. So
What by recycled goods?
Like even like when you have recycling, depending whose service you're getting. Like for our condo, for example, they don't take all recycled goods. There's like plastic wraps that came with packages that would be completely fine to be recycled, but they don't take them. Or batteries, they don't take that. Or old equipment like TVs and so on, they don't take it for recycling. So that would be a recycling place that you can go and drop off things, as well as like you have a piece of furniture that is not resellable. So you couldn't go and donate it to a resale place. But it has stuff that could be used for recycling purposes. So there is no space except right now you're just putting in the trash and then it lands on a landfill. So right. The idea is to have a recycling place that would offer you to bring those things and it would recycle them. You wouldn't have to pay for it to have it recycled. You just bring it there and then they would recycle it and sell it to producers that then can use that material to produce something else again. So that's kind of the concept. So do you think that who could benefit of this recycling place as a consumer? Who would be, in your opinion, people that would use that? Would you, for example, go and use it if you would know of such a project?
Probably, yeah. There are, like you said, there's a number of things that, can be recycled that electronics in mind too, that, that's not easy to find a place to take that for recycling, and sometimes, various organizations will have an event that's actually, an electronic recycling, but as a general rule, it's hard to find some place to take that stuff, so it ends up cluttering up your closets until DIY or somebody says, hey, let's have a electronic recycling day. So having an established place where you could take that kind of stuff would be good. And then are you considering, okay, you take it there and then what, they would break it down into component parts, or I'm not sure what would happen.
To whatever degrees that the staff would be allowed. I mean, there's certain things that we wouldn't be able to break down because in environmental concerns or whatnot, you have to,
Right.
to a professional that then further recycles it. But as a collection station, if you think of, let's say, take the example of a piece of furniture that is not reusable, break it down, the people that would be there would break it down then into the different components that, and at the same time, even though there's regular recycling, there's still certain communities that do not offer recycling. And that there's still, that we would accept the regular stuff like glass and aluminum cans and all those, paper, and imagine all the books and all that stuff, CDs, yeah. And so on. Would you see something else that would be maybe a good idea to add to that list?
Would it have to be something that would have reusable value to it? And there, if you had any thought to things that could actually potentially be reused, because a lot of times there are things that, you know, have some life in them that end up getting thrown away anyway, you know, but that could perhaps be refurbished and resold, or so that you end up, you know, not recycling them in the sense that you're taking the raw materials and making them something into completely new, but somehow rehabbing them so that they could be still have further life in them, or, you know, or have some value to people who, you know, might not be able to have those things. You know, I guess cell phones, I guess sometimes they do those kinds of things. People donate their cell phones, and then, you know, then they're given to people who in underserved communities who wouldn't otherwise have, you know, in access to a cell phone at all. So
yeah, I'll add that. So, and then possibly that we would refurbish stuff as well, if possible.
And that, you know, that kind of things, you know, that's kind of the, at least used to be, I'm not sure they do it anymore, used to be what Goodwill would do was, you know, is actually do a lot more. I think they actually just sort stuff and sell it now, but it used to be they would actually have.
I know out of my own experience that Salvation Army, for example, is very picky now. If they can't sell it, they will not take it, because they don't want to pay for the disposal of it. And they literally, I mean, they don't really recycle it. It just goes in the trash. And right. That's kind of more my concern, considering how much stuff we put on landfills these days.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
Yeah, I mean, there is some stuff that is at the end of its useful life, but there is some stuff that if you know, that is actually able to be fixed, but people just don't fix it, you know, although sometimes the cost to fix it is more than it would be to buy something new, which is how we end up with so much stuff thrown away, because things are made to be disposable, unfortunately.
Yeah. Disposable but recyclable. I mean, those are and more exist as well. So what I put down as in general as who it would be possible who would benefit of it, I said eco-concerned individuals, the general DFW population, and individuals who like the idea of that good cause, because the idea is that the whole adventure would finance itself by being able to sell the recycled goods to somebody who can use it again.
Yeah, I mean, things like, you know, some furniture, you know, if it may be out of style or out of date or just need refinishing, but, you know, you can take a piece of furniture that's been all beat up and sand it down and paint it, and it's, you know, and it's good to go to be used again. you
Yeah.
know. So, and that's the kind of thing that you could perhaps have people, you know, who need jobs employed to do that kind of refurbishing of the furniture that you could then set, you know, resell. So depends on the furniture, of course. You know, some furniture is not it's made of particle board and everything, but you got a nice piece of wood furniture, you know,
Yeah.
that just it's trees. You know, you don't want to, you know, throw away stuff that's actually wood that's been trees, you know, but you know, just because it's been a little beat up, whatever, you know, but there's ways to, you know,
Reuse it. Yeah.
reuse it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why, the reason I put down for why is because we need to take care of our environment. And at the same time, I feel like we have to take care of our community, which is, besides the environment, it is as well part of taking care of our neighbors and those people that maybe live on the margin. And I feel like that would be a good project to them. It will give them a way to enter back into society. What do you feel about that part of the idea?
Giving them jobs in the recycling center. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah. So it's, you know, a productive use of their time, you know, that, you know, anything that creates new jobs, you know, especially if you put your recycling center, well, so I say if you put it someplace would be easy for them to get to, but you also got to balance that with it being accessible to the people who would be donating the stuff as well, so that you end up getting, you know, that's the tricky part, isn't it? Find a place where they can, you know, the people who are marginalized can't actually get to work,
Yeah.
and have it be a place where the people who have the goods that you want them to work on would be willing to go to drop them off.
Yeah.
So,
Have you heard of the Bantam Farms project down in South Dallas? So it's
yeah.
a project where they farm and they give people that are marginalized, first of all, in the food deserts, they provide them for actually having healthy food.
Yeah.
And they give them an employment option in their own neighborhood. And that's kind of the idea as well. And they're working on another project where they actually have like mini homes, those miniature homes or whatever they're called, that they actually can live there too and farm. So I was thinking a little bit in the same way, possibly using that idea and concept, but putting another spin to it with having that recycle service, so to speak, which would give them,
You know, depending on what you brought in, you could actually potentially use some of that stuff as materials to build the tiny houses for people. No.
So that's kind of the overall concept that I had. And our task is to now test it and see what actual people would think of this project and if that could be implemented and if it fulfills a need. Or some people would say, oh yeah, I never thought of it. And I actually would want this and I would actually participate in a project like that. So I greatly appreciate your time. Those are the three questions that we had to go over to kind of bounce off this theory that we have, this concept, to then adjust it accordingly to fine tune it basically. So I greatly appreciate your time that you've given me. Will give me a lot to write down and make adjustments to that project that I started. So thank you very much, Susan.
You're welcome, Fabian. It's great to see you.
Good to see you too.